Alright, hey there folks, I'm Mansray79 and this is Feuillemort. Hello there.
Hi.
And today we're going to be doing a Cardfight Vanguard deck profile sharing video by Feuillemort. He's going to be showing his deck today. So
Yep.
for today's deck profile, we're going to be doing one for the V standard formats, Narukami's Dragonic Vanquisher. Is that correct?
Yep.
Alright, then
Dragonic
let's get
Vanquisher.
started. Let me just set you as the main screen. Okay, here you go. So go ahead.
Right. So first of all, we run 3 of the main boss monster, Vanquisher himself. Reason being is
Only
because
three, not
yep,
four.
only 3, not 4. It's because so the skill of Vanquisher is continuous skill. If 3 or more units were bound, or 3 or more cards were bound on either player's field or hand in total, the whole front row gains 10k during your turn. Second ability, once per turn activate, counterblast 1. If I have a great tree in my soul, I can choose both players. I can choose one player's front row to retire and bind it. Then secondly, if I have a great tree in my soul, I get to bind one more on opponent hand. Opponent choose one card from their hand and they bind it. So it allows your first skill to trigger, and in that very turn, you're buying 3 cards. Cause you're buying one on opponent's field and 2 cards. As both players need to buy 1 card from their hand, which triggers most of your skills inside the deck, which I will show you in a while. And
Alright,
reason being I run 3 of it, which I'll show you in a while, is because of Full Bronto, which is your other key piece, which you run 4 of. So Full Bronto's skill is at the end of the battle, when this is bound from your hand, you can discard 1 card from your hand and you can write it as 10. So when you swing your Vanquisher, then you have cards that allow you to bind from your hand. You bind this, you can write Full Bronto over your Vanquisher by discarding 1 card. Then
so it's a
you gain 1
skill that
Excel circle. Yep. It gives 1 more Excel circle, and at the end of battle, it's a 1 drive attack. At the end of battle, you rewrite back to Vanquisher, which is why you only run 3
so
Vanquisher instead of 4.
so Bronto skill is an auto or is it an active skill? What is it?
It's an auto ability. So when bound,
So
you have to activate the ability already. So you have to be
so
bound
it's
from hand.
the ability can only be used in like the main phase or the battle phase or both.
I and both. So
Alright,
usually,
so
yep. You're saying?
you play 3 of the standard Vanquishers, then 4 full Brontos. So
Yep. That is
mainly you
the
superior
normal.
right full Bronto. Okay.
Yes, you superior right Full Bronto to have the 2 Vanguard attacks, so you can push
Alright,
opponent
so
for damage and you can farm for more Excel circles.
in
And
total you
secondly,
play 7 grade 3s. Okay.
no. I run 4 more Great Trees. This is the one that enables the Full Bronto, the ones that bind the card from your hand.
Alright,
So,
continue.
yep, Full Bronto's second skill, or technically the first skill, continuous skill, when placed on Vanguard Circle, my entire front row gain 10k. So it bumps up the powers, and triggers doesn't really stops this deck. So yeah,
Okay.
currently we go into 4 Jaggy Shot. So this beauty allows me to bind and draw cards, which is very key in this deck, as this deck needs this deck lacks of hand. So by having this card, it allows you to bind a card from your hand to increase or extend battle. So it's a battle extender. The skill is at the end of the battle, um, when this attacks, I can bind 1 card from my hand to draw 1. Then I can bind 1 opponent front row. Then which triggers your Full Bronto's ability, which when this attacks, you can bind Full Bronto from your hand to draw 1 and activate Full Bronto's skill by discarding 1 to rewrite your Vanguard.
So regardless if you
Follow
ride
up.
main
Mhm.
Vanquisher or Jaggy Shot, you'll still be able to superior ride Bronto then.
No. Full Bronto requirement is you have to have Vanquisher as Vanguard Circle.
So you can only use
So
Jaggy Shot as a rear guard then.
yes, as a rear guard. So your main Vanguard, no matter what, is always recommended to write Vanquisher. But you don't need to have too many, as you don't really need to rewrite them.
Alright, so that means you mainly play 11 grade 3s then, right? 3
Yep, 11 great
Vanquishers,
trees.
4 Brontos,
3
and 4
Vanquisher,
Jack
2
Shots.
Brontos, and 4 Jackie Shot. Bronto's beauty of it is it has ability which allows continuous skill is on your Vanguard circle, this unit is considered as Vanquisher. So you can
Oh,
use full Bronto as your Vanguard and swing. With this ability, you can bind a full Bronto from your hand to write on top of full Bronto because this is considered as Vanquisher.
okay,
So it
thank you.
doesn't.
So
Yep. So you don't need to be on the actual Vanquisher, but it's still recommended as the actual Vanquish, the original Vanquisher himself has a good ability which allows you to bind opponent's hand and field. Then second
alright
skill of
then.
a Jackie Shot. At the end of the battle, if opponent doesn't have any front row rear guards, you can move this to soul and draw one. So it's basically a draw two card.
A
Before that,
binder helped you to superior right and to draw a
and
card,
you
so
get
it's
draw.
for
Yep,
3
you get to draw
uses.
two basically. Yep.
Jackie Shot
Now
for
we
your deck
go.
has 3 uses then. Okay,
Yep. Technically three uses. Now we
alright.
go into the grade twos. We run 4 Rock Climb Dragoon, which is another enabler of Full Bronto. So this card ability is at the end of battle, I get to bind one card from my hand and draw one. But I have to retire this card in exchange. Afterwards, I can bind one opponent front row rear guard, which also
Is it
unlocks the Full Bronto's ability, which I can bind Full Bronto from hand again.
any cost for this skill besides retiring itself, like any counter
Nope,
blast or
no
soul
cost.
blast?
Nope,
Nope.
it's all free.
Just self-retiring then.
Yep,
Oh,
self
okay.
retire. You attack, end of battle retires. You draw one. You bind one card from your hand, which you bind usually either Chatura, which I'll go into this in a while, or Full Bronto to unlock your second Vanguard attacks.
Okay then.
So just like that, you get to draw one, and you get a new battle extender. It's a lot better than running other grade twos that I will show you in a while.
Alright.
Next up, we run 4 off. This will be your Chatura. Chatura is a very key piece which allows you to draw 2, and when this unit is bound, which is the skill is when this unit is bound from hand, on my turn, I get to call it to a rearguard circle. So with Vanquisher's ability, which both players have to bind one card from their hand, I can bind Chatura and call Chatura out, and it gains 10k. So it's
Basically, it's a
18k
no cost
on
skill
itself.
then.
No cost skill. Second
Basically, if
skill,
you combine it with Vanquisher, you
yep,
can straight away call and get powers.
yep.
Okay.
You can do it with Vanquisher. You can do it with Jaggy Shot. You can do it with Jaggy Shot. You can do it with Rockland Dragoon. So it's your battle extender. And second skill
Okay.
is when it attack hits, I get to Soul Blast one. To bind one card from your opponent field, and you get to draw one. So it's a +1 basically, just with a cost of Soul Blast one, which this deck don't really needs any Soul Blast. Yep, it's a very good
Okay.
battle extender. Next up, I run 3 off. Actually, no, 2 off. Cho. 2 Cho. Cho is your restander, basically. So Cho's skill is when placed, counter blast 1. I can choose one column on opponent's when placed on Vanguard or Rearguard Circle ability. I can counter blast 1 to choose one opponent column to bind the front card and move up the back card. So basically, if opponent has a card in the back row, I choose this column and bind it. I'll move the card from behind to move up to the front row, which allows me to buy more cards and clear opponent's board, which is a very key piece. Second skill of Cho, once per turn, at the end of opponent's battle, at the end of my Vanguard battle, I can counter blast 1 to withstand this if opponent doesn't have any front row rear guards. So it's basically a 2 rear guard attack. It's a
And you
withstander
only
on rear
play
guard
2 of
circle.
this card, right?
Play only 2 of this. Yep. It's because you don't really need it and you don't really see an opportunity to do it as you have many battle extenders in this deck already. And most of them
So
allow you to draw.
so that means total now you play 10 grade 2, is that correct?
Currently, I run 8. Yep. I run 12 grade 2s to be exact. 4
Oh,
more.
you have more grade 2s? What else?
Yep. This one allows me to bind a card from my hand. So its requirement is at the end of the battles, when it attacks Soul Blast 1, if I have a Vanquisher Vanguard, I can draw 1 and bind 1 card from my hand, which enables all my battle extender. I can bind my Full Bronto, I can bind my Chatura, and next one I'll show you a grade 1, which also can call from the Mind Zone 2. So with this, I can bind Full Bronto to extend my Vanguard attack, or I can bind Chatura, or I can bind this grade 1, which is called Chainbolt Dragoon. Also can call from the Mind Zone. All these are battle extenders.
So this skill is same as well, no cost or anything you have to pay for
Soul
this
Blast
one?
1. That's it.
Just
Soul
a
Blast 1.
simple Soul Blast one. So you
Yep.
play 4 different grade 2s, total
Yep.
12, right?
Total
Wait,
12.
it's-
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
So that is just an emergency card, because at one point I will not get my Jackie Shot and such. I would need this on my rearguard circle to extend to do any battle extenders.
Okay.
Next I run 4 Demolition Dragon. Some people run 3. For my case, I run 4 because I like the on-hit skill. So this gives the on-hit pressure on early game, whereby its skill is when it hits, regardless of Vanguard / rearguard circle, um, I get to, if it's on the Vanguard circle, I can when it hits I can draw 1, and
Okay.
if opponent have the card in the drop zone, I can bind it. It's a free cost. That's it. It's just on hit skill. Second, if it's on the rearguard skill, rearguard circle, when it hits boosted or attack, when it's attacking and hits, I have to move this to soul in order to trigger the draw 1 and bind 1 card in opponent drop zone. Unless opponent have no cards in drop zone, I don't have to move this to soul. It's a on hit draw 1. That's it. If opponent have no cards in soul in drop zone. So it's a free binding, free draw engine, and it causes some opponent to think about taking early damages or not, because this allows us to draw cards for Narukami players, and most Narukami decks run 3 to 4 of this, as this is one of your on hit engines and early game rush engines. Yeah.
So
It's one of the
basically,
key
it's
pieces.
two uses, but depending on the situation, it can also have a third use if you want to
Yep.
pressure the opponent.
Yep.
Okay.
Next up, we run 4 Chainbolt Dragoon. This is basically a Vanquisher Searcher when it's placed on Vanguard Circle. When it's placed on Vanguard Circle, I can look at top 7 cards on my deck for 1 Vanquisher card name and reveal it to my opponent and add it to my hand. So it basically allows me to search for Full Bronto if I have Vanquisher itself, or I can look for Vanquisher if I have Full Bronto on my hand already. Second ability, when it's bound by a card ability on my hand or on my side, and it's during my turn, I can call this card when it's bound from my hand. So it's a free cost. That's it. So with this, I can call out, I can use Jackie Shot to bind this to call this out, or I can use Rock Climb Dragoon or this, which allows me to extend more battles.
And again, it's
And it's a
still
free
just
cost.
no cost, right?
Yep, free
Basically.
cost. Yep.
Okay.
And next up, I run 2 off Grade 3 Searcher. So of course, some people run 3. But for my case, my deck is very tight. I run 2 off. Reason being
Because
is
you already
because
have Dragoon
yep,
already, right? Because
yeah,
you
I
have
have
the other one.
Chainbolt Dragoon to look for top 7, and technically I have all the on-hit skill for my grade 1. So basically, I get to farm hand in any sort of ways. But this is just
So
if I didn't get any of those, I have to write this and top 5 for Vanquisher. Top 5 for grade 3,
and
but
it
mainly
can
looking for Vanquisher.
also
Yep,
help you get Jackie Shot as well if you wanted, right?
yep. Because its requirement is just top 5 for a grade 3. Second ability is if if I bound a card on this turn, a bound opponent card on this turn, I think. Or I think both players' turn. As long as a card is bound this turn, this unit is a 13k attacker.
Okay.
So it's just a 13k base. Yep, it's
Is
a very
the
good power
is the power up skill
basic card.
stackable or is it just one time?
No, it's just a continuous skill. So once you bind, once a card is bound, that unit is just a 13k card, which is a
So
very good
it's
card
not
in
stackable
general.
then, okay?
Yep, it's not stackable. Now we go into the triggers. We run 4 heals, Hugh Garden to be exact, because you want to survive all the early rushes and such.
Yes.
Then we run the 4 draws, PG. I don't run for Crit Sentinel because I prefer draw PGs. Against some specific deck matchup, you would want Sentinels over criticals, 30k shield. Then for my case, since I do not have common critical trigger, because as this deck is mainly for my premium, I run 8 crits in general.
Okay.
So this will be a
So
proxy of my common crit.
sure.
8
So it's
crits. Yep.
the the basic trigger lineup of 8 crits, 4 draws, and 4 heals. Then
Yep.
you
And
managed to get
lastly, the
everything
starter.
you need from Sentinels. Okay.
Yep.
And your
So this
starter
will
is
be
using So for your gift zone, you mainly play Excel 1 or 2.
Excel 2, as you can draw more, but you tend to deck
So
out
you play
faster
Excel,
as yeah. I play Excel 2.
and you also have Quick Shield included as well. Is that right?
Yep.
So
Which is all included. You don't really have to discard anything for this deck. It's mostly free cost, and it's I would say it's a gatekeeper for V premium in general.
so the main
Gatekeeper of
focus
meta.
of your deck is to Superior Right,
Bind
Full Bronto,
Superior
and
Right, Full Bronto. Let me set up a field that I usually encounter, and
okay.
this is one of the most optimal field. So you have this, you have that. Give me a moment. Let me get my Excel marker. So this is one of the most optimal first grade 3 write up turn. And it's a very basic combo that usually Vanquisher players do. So you have this should be in soul. So you have this on your hand. And you can have anything as long as one card that can bind from hand, and you have one booster. That's it. And just one random card, maybe a trigger. I'll just grab a trigger. So this will be the best scenario. You have one damage. That's all in it for this deck. And have this. So as of turn one, it's best to have this kind of field. Of course, you have one more slot for any grade 2 or any grade 3, up to you. But this is one of the better battlefield you can have. So it'll be one random card, so it doesn't matter what card. One full Bronto and one Chatura. The best card is always Chatura on your hand. And as long as you have one damage, you can trigger any of this. So the one damage is to just counter blast one to bind off any card on opponent's front row first. So you don't have to do this, but it's better for you to start binding opponent's cards. Then what you will do is you swing with your Vanguard first. Reason being is because you want to make sure your Vanguard's rested, so you can restand your Vanguard later when you rewrite the full Bronto. So you do your twin drive, doesn't matter what you drive check. So if it's trigger will be better. So no trigger, let's take it as we have no trigger. Right now we have 5 cards. Then now you would want to swing with let me think, this one. This will be a 14k to opponent's Vanguard because you only currently bound one card currently because of Vanquisher's skill. We are assuming that they have a front row, so we bound one card. So right now the scenario is we assume opponent has 2 front row rearguards. So we bind one card from opponent field because of Vanquisher's skill. Now we swing with your Rockheim Dragoon, 14k to opponent Vanguard, retires, you bind a card from your hand and you draw one, of course. So it doesn't matter what you draw. So currently, because of this skill, you get to bind one more opponent front row rearguards. One more opponent front row rearguard circle. Oh, give me a moment.
Okay.
Then skill of Chatura, you get to call it out because of its very own skill when it's bound bound from your hand. You call it out and gain 10k. So it's a very good card. So automatically, it's just 18k, no 23k attacker just by itself. Then skill of Vanquisher currently continuous skill since 3 or more cards are bound on either player's side. So in total 3 or more. My entire front row currently gain 10k. So this is the drop zone. So currently my Chatura is at 33k and this is a 22k attacker right now. So of course you will swing with this. Then you will do its ability, you bind the card. At the end of battle, you bind the card, you draw one. Then if since opponent has no front row because you use this and your Vanguard's ability to to bind both opponent front row, you can activate this ability. At the end of battle, you go to soul. But of course, this trigger first. So this ability, discard one from hand, you rewrite your Vanquisher, and you gain an Excel marker. So you gain an Excel marker, and you draw another one. Right? Then end of battle skill, since opponent have no front row, move to soul, you draw another card. This will swing for one drive, doesn't matter what you drive check. And this will swing if it doesn't hit, doesn't matter, it's a 33k attacker in general. And at the end of turn, you will end off with 7 cards. And of course, end of battle, you have to go back to your original Vanquisher. And since your Vanquisher's ability requires you to have a Great Tree in Soul. Next turn, you can bind the opponent hand card. Both players can bind one card from their hand. So currently, you have 7 cards. You started off with 3 cards. Of course, you have 2 other rear guards. Now you end up with 7 cards. This is very good. And we are excluding the on-hit abilities. So if any of these hits, you get to draw 2 more basically. Because this allows you to draw 1 and bind 1 opponent drop zone. And this allows you to draw 1 in general.
So usually when you play using this deck, this is usually the kind of ideal field and
The
strategy
ideal
focus
field, yeah.
on.
Of course, you have one more rear guard circle here for you to go into anything. And if you have more cards that can extend your battles, it will be better. So this is the basic combo that I can think of. Of course, it will be
This is-
better to have a card that can withstand, or maybe a card that can bind another card from your hand, so you can extend one more attack since you have one more extra circle here. Yeah.
Okay.
So you will definitely end
So
up with 2 extra circles at the end of battle.
so this is mainly how you play whenever you use this deck, right?
Yep.
So are there any other strategies or combos available in this deck you want to share?
This is the base. It's a very straight up deck, so you don't really have much combos to share around. But in general, this is the main combo that you usually see for each Vanquisher deck in general, because all of them has the same end result as the normal any Vanquisher deck out there. Because everything will be 2 at the end. You will have 2 Excel circles, 1 Vanquisher full Bronto in your soul, and of course you have some on hit abilities and such on your field at the end of turn with a decent amount of cards on your hand, because you get to draw them around, you know, because of all your skills, and it's free cost. All you have to do is just 1 color blast, and maybe like 1, 2, 3, 4 cards, because you have to write 1. Technically, it's free because you get to draw from the Excel circle. You have to call 1 card, Clan Dragoon here. You have to call another card, the Jaggy Shot here, and call 1 Demolition here. Basically, you are just calling 3 cards, riding a Vanguard, to gain like even more cards here, which is very, very good. And it's very common for one to see things like Jaggy Shot Dragoon, because it's quite easy to filter out, as you have the Great Tree Searcher. So you have this, you can filter out. Or if you don't have Jaggy Shot Dragoon, that's not a problem, because you have Rock Climb Dragoon. And the reason why I run this, just in case I doesn't have any of these 2 options, I always have this. This will be a better one, because it's when attack, so +1. I can buy any card from my hand. I will definitely buy full Bronto to rewrite full Bronto. All I have to do is just discard 1 card, which this card allow me to draw 1. So it's basically a free cost to write full Bronto. And full Bronto, when rolled upon, I gain an Excel circle, so I can draw 1. So basically, it's a +1, which is a very,
So
very good thing.
okay. So speaking from your own personal experience, whenever you play this deck, how often have you been able to successfully build this sort of field and play this sort of strategy?
It's more of no, I will not see. I will usually see this view about like 8 to 9 times out of 10 times kind of thing. Because it's very common for you to achieve all these key pieces. As your grade 1 allow you to search for top 7, your other grade 1 allows you to search top 3. You have on hit ability for you to draw even more, and such, so on and so forth. Which is quite simple for you to achieve these 2. And
So
you don't
overall,
have to
your
be on Vanquisher in general. You can be on this, because this will be a Vanquisher itself by its own skill. And of course, you also can rewrite, because this is Vanquisher. Its own skills change its name to Vanquisher. So yeah.
your deck is built to outlast the opponent by getting rid of their rear guards, drawing more cards, and
Yep.
overall all the cards in your deck work together so well you'll almost always be able to play your
Pull off the
main
yep. Pull
attacker.
off the Vanquisher with the full Bronto combo. It's very common for one Vanquisher player to do it.
And that was very interesting to know. So is there anything else about this deck you wish to share or talk about?
This deck isn't the best out there, but it's a gatekeeper for V Premium in general, because most of them are just the current meta for V Premium is just Highlander Prisms, which is a deck that this deck cannot outdo, because basically this deck is helping them. As you're binding their rear guards, they require cards to be in the bind zone. So if you bind any cards from their bind zone, they can call it out from their bind zone for free. All they have to do is just swing with their Vanguard, counterblast 1, bounce the whole front row to their hand, and call 2 cards from bind zone if opponent's Vanguard grade 3. So it's basically helping them. Then secondly, the only few decks that I feel that this deck can go up against Aqua Force, Bermuda decks like Melody and such. It's because they do not have resist.
So for
So
this
this
deck,
deck, I would say, is a gatekeeper for the meta in
so
general.
it's against a specific opponent, it's helpless, but against
Yep.
mostly decks that focus on having rear guards, it's a pretty good match against for
Yep.
you.
Yep, because in V Premium, there isn't any cards that can remove cards from bind zone other than prisms that I can think of right now. And
And
the only thing that you usually see are prisms in the meta at least. Prisms, Luard, and Melody. These are the top three.
and generally clan or deck, how well does this deck do in the
Usually
normally?
I get to usually this deck gets to limit opponent's field and hand, which is a very key resource for V Premium in general. Because most of the clans and decks in V Premium currently requires more on field, which this deck specializes in it because you get to bind them instead of retiring them. So cards that can return from drop zone are useless right now, and you get to limit their field as you are moving, such as cards like Cho moves cards from their from their back row to the front row, which is a very key piece because you get to move their important grade one from the back row. They move up, and there goes because you can bind it, you can retire it, and so on goes so on so forth.
Such detailed
No
explanation.
problem.
Is there anything else you wish to mention about your deck or anything else?
Honestly, Vanquisher in general, I would recommend for premium because Vanquisher premium you have much more plays to do due to you have such premium things. So such cards like G Guardian, you get to retire and bind opponent cards on the opponent field. This is one of your key pieces. Then you get to gain power and bind when retire opponent front row for every 4 cards in their opponent bind zone. All these are very key piece. And the main card, which is the star, with Stunverse, which this skill is very simple. So +1, you get to bind opponent has to choose 4 cards from their field, 4 cards from their drop zone, and bind it. For every 4 cards in their bind zone, opponent has to bind 1 card from their hand. And for every card they bind, you get to draw 1. So with this, you can combo with your Vanquisher, your on-hit skills, and everything around it, which is very good. Which is why Narukami is one of the decent decks in premium. I wouldn't say it's good, but it's a decent deck for premium. Yeah, it's one of the
So
known
in the
decks
V
that people are
format,
aware.
this deck is generally okay, but it's more
It's more
at its
but
best when
yep,
it's playing the
premium.
premium
Yes,
format.
indeed it is.
And okay, so I'll hope we can in the near future we'll be able to feature your premium deck in another video. So
Yep.
is there anything else you want to say or share?
Nope. That's all.
All right, then let me just set the screen back to normal. And first off, before we sign out, is there anything else you wish to say to the audience who'll be watching this video? Like anything personal to share about your Vanguard fights or anything?
Vanquisher in general is very easy to pilot. You just need to take about 1 to 2 matches and you'll be able to learn it. Other than that, nothing else.
All right then. So thank you again for being in today's video, and
Yep.
I hope we can do this again sometime in the near future. And so, yep. So
All right.
first,
Thank you.